Hello, welcome back to the channel. Ed Paget here, and today I want to show you a brilliant way to stretch out tight hips. I'm going to show you how to modify a pigeon pose from yoga so that you can minimize the risk to injuring your knee, but also get the best stretch that you can in your hips. Now, why is it important for people with back pain and scoliosis to have tight hips? Well, tight hips can lead to overuse of the back muscles, but also overuse of the joints as well. And over time, this can cause wear and tear and ultimately pain. The stronger or more mobile a person's hip is, the less chance they have of overusing their back. But also, strong hips have actually been linked to living longer. I'm talking about the sit-rise test here, and I'm going to link that in the description below, and it's something that you can actually try at home and see how you get on. Before I get into the video though, I want to let you know about my online course for scoliosis. It's the most comprehensive course out there, and it takes you through everything you need to know about stretching your spine, strengthening your spine, and adding endurance to your spine to help you manage your scoliosis. Now, I run the course a few times a year, and if you'd like to know when the next one starts, simply click the link in the comments below or click the link in the description below, put your name on the list, and I will tell you when the next one is going to start. But also, I will send you my free 6-part video series on scoliosis. Now, I'm going to get on with the training. So how do we make the pigeon pose work for us if we have tight hips? So ideally, we want to be able to put one leg at 90 degrees to our body here. So, for example, on this mat here, I've got little lines, and the lines are parallel. So there's one here and there's one here. So I want my front leg, with the shin bone lined up parallel like this. But then I also want my hips to be parallel as well, and I want this leg to be back behind me. So if I try to get into that position, I'm going to end up here somewhere. So you can see that if I go to the side, put my leg at 90 degrees to my hips here, or parallel to my hips, I can't really do it. I'm too tight through my pelvis. Now, some of you will be able to do this, slide this leg backwards, no problems. But a lot of people can't, including myself. And so what we end up doing is we bend this knee here, and then we hold ourselves down in this position. You can see my hips are still way off the ground, and I sort of fold here, and maybe I get a hip stretch. But in bending the knee like this, and taking this leg behind me, and bending down, I put a lot of torque and rotation into my knee, and that can actually damage it. So how can we do that without sort of putting the knee under stress, but also keep the hips aligned and get that leg behind us? Well, for some people, it's just not possible. And so we have to take the pigeon back a step here by bringing the knee up to this position. So we've got one here, one here. This is called a 90-90. So it's 90 degrees here, 90 degrees here. So from the side, it simply looks like this. Now you can also see how my back's kind of pointing off to the left here. So in order to get a stretch in my hip, I'd have to sort of come down here or here, and maybe I'll tweak my back doing that. So let's try and keep the legs in roughly the same position, but actually get my pelvis to be level to the ground. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to take a foam roller, and I'm going to put that underneath my hip. All right, so now my pelvis is a little bit more level, but you can see my knee started to come up a little bit. So I could have a choice here. I could bend my knee again and put it down onto the ground, but that could cause stress to the knee joint. Or I could simply take a little yoga block and put that under my knee here. Now my pelvis is level, my shin is at 90 degrees here, and now I can start to feel some rotation and some stretching into my hip joints. And if I lean forward, I've got my knee nicely supported, and I can actually get a really good stretch on my butt muscles. Okay, so here is a regressed version of the pigeon with the legs in the right position and your spine actually pointing upwards as opposed to over to the side. So how do I do that in a proper pigeon? Something that the yoga people might recognize. Well, surprisingly or not, I actually need this much lift to actually make this work. So I've just taken some cushions here off my couch, and you can use yoga bolsters or foam rollers. Use whatever you want. But what we want to do here is prop up the front leg as much as possible. So we know the back leg has to be completely straight. With the front leg here, I'm never going to be able to get my shin down to the ground and keep my pelvis level. But if I actually come onto this group of pillows here, my pelvis can remain level. This leg is back, getting a nice stretch through the front of my hip flexors here. And this knee is not under any duress because it's supported by the pillows here. So from this position, I can lean forward over my hip. And now I start to feel a really nice stretch in my butt muscles without any complaints from any other joints in my body. So I'm going to show you what that looks like from the side. Take your pillows, you put them underneath your knee and butt muscles here. Bring in this leg to the side so we're getting a straight leg out behind you. Take this shin here to be sort of parallel to your hips, and your hips should be level as much as possible. Now this position already, I can feel a stretch in my butt. Then I can lean forward just a little bit, which opens up the muscles and joints of my lower back. At the same time, gives me a really good stretch into my glute muscles. Now some of you may not be able to lean forwards. That's fine. You can actually use something either side, even like a walking stick or a wall or a small chair, and you can hold yourself into this position and try and rotate your whole pelvis to go forwards without actually bending your spine, and now you're going to feel a really good stretch there as well. So for me, the difference between this is mainly back bending but getting a stretch into my pelvis, or an anterior tilt, so I'm dropping my pelvis down. Now I'm getting a stretch into my glute muscles without even looking like I am doing that. All right, I'm going to show you on the other side real quick, just so you get a full appreciation for it. So I'm here, taking my back leg, keeping it underneath me, keeping it nice and straight. Everything's aligned nicely, and the anterior tilt of the pelvis is this. So my pelvis is literally dipping forwards. My back remains straight. Now I've got a good stretch here. Flexion on my back. If I need to, I can go forward into this position. Now you can hold these stretches for quite a long time. 30 seconds to a minute is actually really nice, and you can start using breath to help relax. So when you breathe and you breathe out longer than you breathe in, so let's say you breathe out for 6 seconds and you breathe in for 4 seconds, it actually puts the body into a state of relaxation as opposed to stress. So let's say you're in holding that position and it's kind of uncomfortable and you're breathing like this. That will actually tighten up the muscles because that's putting you into a state of stress. Whereas if you breathe in, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 5, 6, you keep that breath rate going, that actually relaxes the muscles and makes the stretches easier. So I hope you find this modified Pigeon useful, and it's a great way to open up those tight hips. I'm going to wrap this video up now. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, but also click on that notification bell and send my channel to a friend who you think will enjoy my content as well. Thank you so much for doing those things. Your support makes a huge difference. Also, if you have scoliosis, I want to tell you about the amazing community we're building over on Facebook. If you'd like to join this group, which is where a lot of the action and interaction with my community happens, simply click the link in the pinned comments below or click the link in the description and we will add you to that group. Stay tuned for my next video, which will be up soon. Till next time, stay loose.